Welcome back to Brandon K Show. This is a real show, and I'm so excited today. We're going to talk about the belief cycle. That's what all these bears are doing here. Bears. And I brought some friends, two of the most inspirational people I know, to talk about B.A.R. B.E.A.R. Rodger, back. He's been here. He was on episode 1. He's back.
Yay! Thanks, Brandon, for having me back.
See how they do you.
What happened?
Well, thank you for having me back.
Yeah. And also Nick.
What's up, everyone? We got the bear right here to reinforce the bear cycle, so pay attention, folks. Great to be here.
Like I said, two of the most inspirational people I know. We're going to talk about B.E.A.R. I brought a few things to the set. Let's see. Check it out.
Ooh, more bears?
Gummy bears.
Sour
Excellent.
bears.
Damn.
Eat up. We brought, so
Got bears
you guys
in
are
all
probably
forms.
wondering. You guys are probably wondering what the hell I'm talking about. The B.E.A.R cycle. I'm going to get into it now after we talk about our sponsor, Gift Apply. Gift Apply.
Let's snag a couple.
Brandon K Show is sponsored by Gift Apply Charity Wrapping Paper. Flat packed for convenience, eco-friendly, and made in America. Each purchase includes a 33% donation to one of 8 incredible causes. The causes are Alex Lemonade Stand for Childhood Cancer,
It's a good one.
It Gets Better Project, Best Friends Animal Society, and more. Elevate your gift giving throughout the year with Gift Apply Charity Wrapping Paper, where every wrap is a gift to charity. And utilize coupon code BK Show at the checkout on the site to save 25% off your entire order.
It's a heck of a deal.
It's really good wrapping paper.
Awesome.
And now
Very good.
you guys are going to hear
Very good.
about. I also wanted to say about my friends here. This quote. Can you read it for me, Rodger?
You become what you focus on, and like the people you spend time with. John Spencer.
These are the people I spend time with. So you guys can help me get better in life. And, we can bring each other up. And that's part of the B.E.A.R cycle. Is it the right way up?
Yes,
Looks
it is.
great.
The B.E.A.R cycle.
Did you draw that bear?
I just drove this bear.
Looks
Love
great,
it.
bro.
All right, now,
Tell us about the cycle.
the belief cycle starts with belief. The most important thing you have to do is believe in yourself and know that it all starts with belief. If you believe you're a good person, you'll be a good person. If you believe that you're a strong person, you'll be a strong person. If you believe that you are a bad person, you might do bad things. The beliefs is where it all starts. Now, when you have a deep-seated belief, that then leads to energy, where you put your energy, where you put your emotion. We can get upset about what we think about ourselves. Energy, where your thoughts are. Somewhere between the words energy, emotion, and thoughts. And what was the other one? I forgot it. The one I sent you on the tab. It was potential, and potential. So this is the potential area. So anything that we're ever going to be capable of is going to be based on what we know about us, what we believe about ourselves, and where we put our energy, where our thoughts are,
Where emotions are.
where our emotions are. That's going to lead to action. Actions lead to results.
Results reinforce belief.
Exactly. Results reinforce belief. Now, when you get better results, you have better beliefs about yourself. You believe that you can achieve more, and the spiral goes up. The belief cycle goes up. When you don't believe in yourself, the spiral goes down. spiral goes down. I don't believe in myself. I'm sad. I could never do a podcast. I'm so anxious. Who would ever want to do this? The belief cycle goes down.
So where's this change at, Brandon? Like, what needs to change in order for your beliefs to change? Where is the break at? Is it in the emotions or the actions?
You can change pretty much any of the four. So if you did change your beliefs right now, you said I believe I can be a millionaire right now tomorrow, everything's going to change from there. If you also change where your energy flows and your thoughts, if you reprogram your thoughts right now, same thing, because the beliefs are the roots, but the thoughts are what we experience every day. If you change those thoughts right now and reprogram those thoughts, you're going to have better actions. If you just did the actions that you needed to do to become a millionaire, you will also change the whole cycle. And potentially, if somehow you got the results without doing the other three, the cycle would also change. Such as a millionaire who is handed $1 million and then is like, thinks that he deserved it in some way. He might start to believe, oh, I could get another million now that I had the first million. So any of the four, and the thoughts and the energy and the emotions and any of the things that B.E.A.R. or emotion, that'll change the cycle.
You got an example besides being a millionaire?
Getting laid.
Getting laid?
If a girl comes up to you and she's like, "You're so hot. I want to be with you, Rodger." You're gonna be like, "Oh, I guess I'm hot. I always thought I was. Not you, but if somebody did think that they weren't."
You know, it's funny you say that. For the longest time, like growing up, I was fat, and I didn't find that girls didn't find me attractive. I didn't think so, because kids are mean, and it took up into my 30s where that belief in myself, I still felt that way. I didn't feel like I was attractive, and it took a lot of time for women to tell me that I was attractive, or tell me I was beautiful, or tell me I was pretty, and then that constant reinforcement, I started believing it. It changed my perception of myself over time. Now that you mentioned that,
And the point of this cycle is that we don't need to get the results to change our beliefs. We can change our beliefs now. It's just about feeding ourselves positive information, visioning what we want, manifesting what we want. You can do that without having the results, without having the girl tell you you're great. You can tell yourself you're great. Nick, would you like to chime in?
I mean, thanks for chiming in on this. And this bear cycle is very interesting, Brandon. And I love how it's in order for a reason, but it almost seems that the order can come in different, or it could become a randomized order at times. But what I really liked is once you complete it and you see those results, then you jump right back into the cycle even harder because you've completed everything. But then the results, which are the valid, tangible, real things that you can measure, once you see those, then you dive in way harder. And it all starts with that belief, because you can't begin anything if you don't believe it, right? If you don't think that there's a slight chance that maybe you could succeed. It doesn't have to be a full belief that you're going to destroy everything and conquer the world, but you have to have a little bit of a glimpse that you may be able to succeed. Then from there, you're going to go into what's the energy towards that belief. Is it positive energy or is it bad energy? If it's positive energy and you genuinely believe it and you genuinely are manifesting your expectation for the future, then it's like, okay, now let's roll into action. Now that I have a really strong belief, I've got the proper energy to go towards my solution. Now we can actually perform the actions and take the steps that we need and then get the results. So I think that's amazing. Manifestation is amazing. Everything starts with a thought and then it can truly become a reality. I'm not saying that if you think something's going to become a reality tomorrow, it doesn't guarantee it is, because manifestations have different lengths of time until that becomes true. But I do believe anything can be manifested, no matter how difficult it sounds, no matter how long it may take. If it's money, a relationship, anything can be manifested. It just may take different
I'd like
time.
to chime in on that.
Yeah.
I was watching a documentary with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was talking about his early life and or just his life period over time, that he has the ability to see things very vividly and pictured what path he wanted out of his life as he was in Austria growing up, after the war, World War II and the whole rebuilding of that. And it was just, he was a child and he believed and he pictured, even all the way up to being a governor of California,
California.
because he said he had a
Oh,
vivid,
the resume.
he had the ability to vividly picture his future, the manifestation of it.
Exactly what you said, Roger. And I was just reading my morning readings actually in my routine, that if you visualize something for long enough, okay, if I visualize me owning Disneyland tomorrow and I just visualize it for 5 seconds, I'm not going to actually own Disneyland tomorrow. But if I visualize, okay, in a month, I'm going to keep working. And then in a month, I may hit this goal. And then in 3 months from there, I may hit this goal. And then in a year, I may hit this goal, whatever it may be. If you have that same goal and it lasts years, you still have that same desire, because the timeline of manifestation is going to change. But if it sticks and you still have that, it's just law. It will come to fruition.
Yeah, that's what Roger and I were talking about in the car, is setting low bars, so that you can reach them. Playing against people that'll increase your skill. Hanging out with people who will increase your knowledge. And we called them small wins in a company I used to be in. Like, hit that small win, hit that first goal, and you're like, I'm on my way. That's what this belief cycle is about, is those small wins.
Yeah, I like what Jordan Peterson, he paints it very vividly too, where your goals, the goals leading up to your goals, give you a hit of dopamine. They reinforce those neurotransmitters in your mind, and that pushes you on to that next little achievement and that next little achievement, and that gets you towards your goals. Every time you get just a little piece towards that goal, it'll set you into the next goal. And if you're living life without goals, you're aimless. You're full of anxiety and you have no direction, and you're at the whims of the world at that point.
Yeah, and I want to talk about why this is so important to me, because I had so many years of those limiting beliefs. Now this is the beliefs, they're limited, is like, I can't have money. I have to get rid of money when I have it. I can't get a girlfriend. I can't. I call the voice in my head can't. I can't. He thinks I can't do it. So it also stands for codependency, addiction, neurotic thinking, NT. I love acronyms.
I know.
So, did you guys see this one? No, we did that one. So this is what you believe you can achieve, what your mind can conceive and believe you can achieve, by Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich. This is the secret. This is the law of attraction. I have read Think and Grow Rich. I've watched The Secret, and it is about programming your mind, setting a goal, looking at the goal, and saying, this is how I'm going to get to the goal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's it.
Then you believe it, Nick.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. I know it comes back down to the manifestation. It comes down to what Roger said of breaking large-scale goals into small, tiny wins. Because if you can create, let's say we have a goal that's a pretty large, lofty goal that may take a couple years, and that's just one checkbox, that 2-year goal, right? And to check that box, that's going to seem like the most arduous, daunting, most difficult task in the world. And you're going to sit there and not even know how to start because you're so focused on checking that single box. But if you can break that down into 200 or 100, whatever, different boxes that are essentially little wins that are dopamine releases, all of a sudden after a year, you're at that result. You're at that goal that you initially tried to reach by breaking it down. And everything has to start with a thought, because the thought of you being able to accomplish something, that's always the first stage of doing it. Like, you can't actually go do something unless you've thought about it. That wouldn't make sense. You'd be unconscious. You wouldn't be at arriving at the thing you're trying to do. So the first thing that must come is a thought. And if that thought doesn't wash away the next day with fear and go, I give up, and then maybe a week it doesn't wash away and it's still there and you can see you reaching it, then and then a month and a year, and you have to believe it for long term. You can't believe it one day and not the next day. You got to stick with it. And that's when it ties into how true is that belief as well. Is that a belief that your racing monkey mind is saying? The frontal cortex that obviously science says is not very accurate, are fear red flags, things that are not worth flagging as survival. This is BS. A lot of this is BS. And if you could learn to not buy into those thoughts and stick with your goals, that's when the results come for sure.
Yeah, and that brings me to this quote.
Oh no. Okay, go for it. It brings you to the quote. Let's hear it.
Can you say it, Brandon?
Labor omnia vincit.
What's it mean?
Labor omnia vincit. Hard work conquers all.
What it really comes down to, all these goals, hard work.
Mm-hmm.
Hard work.
I agree 100%. And I want to say one thing before that, which is, what do you do when the emotion, when you might have the belief, you have a little bit of you have a little bit of belief, you want the belief, but then your mind starts taking over and the emotion comes in. You're like, I'm having a bad day, having a bad thought. I want to go down the line. All three of us can talk about how we get over that. Starting with you, Nick.
It's a really good question. So you have the belief, which is our first stage for success, is to have some little bit of like a belief that it could work. Then the second thing is the energy. And if it's positive, great. If it's negative, then what can we do to tailor that into something positive? And everything comes down to perspective. Literally everything in life is a perspective. Can I frame this differently? Am I actually looking at this clearly? Am I looking at this through my truth, which is my heart and the things that I know I want that would be good for me? Or am I looking through this through fear, greed, jealousy, envy, comparison, what the brain says, the difference from the heart to the brain. So depending on the filter that you're looking at, that's where the energy is going to be. And if you don't have good energy one day, that doesn't mean you won't have it the next. So do not give up on that, and good energy doesn't flow every day. We're freaking floating around on planet Earth through space. And imagine all of the different molecules and matter and electrons and all the things that we can't see that are floating through us, invisible rays. No shit, you're not going to feel good every day. We're floating around on a freaking rock in space, man.
That's a change of perspective right there. If you just thought
I
about
go
that,
deep, man. I try to go very deep and philosophical.
Think about that instead of, oh, I'm having a bad day. This person did this to me and I can't get this, what I want. If you're thinking about, your bigger purpose in life or what we're all here for, then you're going to be more on the right track.
Absolutely. And keep an eye on the sense of self as well, because we always want to look out for ourselves. We have to survive. We know what's right for us. But when self becomes too overpowering to where we can't see things clearly because we're so in our egos to where others are not being considered, then that's where you have to have the wisdom to know the difference between those two. But absolutely, self can be a bitch, and it lies to us quite a bit.
And Rodger, same deal. What do you do when you're having a bad day?
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine about the bad days. I don't have bad days. I don't have good days. I have days.
Mm-hmm.
To me, every day that I'm breathing, every day that I'm free is good, man. If something was a little bit more stressful, or if I had, interaction with somebody I did not favor, I may examine it at night and see where I was at fault. But I don't chalk it up to bad days or good days. A lot of it is in perspective. How you look at life. I look at life like everything is awesome. Everybody I encounter, whether they rub me wrong or if I hit it off with them and have a good rapport, I'm taking something away from that. I'm taking something away from them. I'm taking some of their energy. I'm taking something from that interaction and learning from that and becoming and using it in my own life. Mm-hmm. So perspective and keeping a positive attitude, especially in the last 6 months, and I've been out here in California, has helped me achieve goals. I've set 6-month goals, and here I am at, 173 days So 7 days short of my 6-month goals, and I've achieved every single goal I had.
Yes.
And it's all from having positive thoughts like that. It's achievable, and even some goals I dismissed and didn't know how I was going to come about. They were going to come about. They came about like without me pushing towards them, me running after them, putting my will into it. My higher power, God, Jesus Christ, opens doors for me that I believe that my gratitude and my positive attitude make possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, I'm going to say that for me, it comes down to anxiety, and it comes down to just knowing that, like, I used to think all throughout my 20s, like, I'm anxious, something's wrong, just telling myself that, the thoughts, the anxiety. Now I know that it's a physical response. I'm having a physiological response to something. And it's just like, this is just a feeling, an emotion. That's for the anxiety. And then for the thoughts, those are lies. They're not even real. The thoughts aren't real. Like, if I'm telling myself something horrible is going to happen, I don't know that it's going to happen for sure. I can only guess at the bad things that are going to happen. So this has been a major change in my life of changing those thoughts. And one more thing, which is to be solution based. So I could get really into self pity, or I could get really into thinking that nothing good's ever going to happen for me. But all I have to do is find the solution. If I find the solution, any solution, this is the bear cycle solution. If I find any solution that I'll be on here, if I find any solution on here that I'll be on here sharing, that's going to help me overcome all the negativity. And one more thing, focus on the positive, and the negative will disappear entirely. I mean, it's gonna be there. Negative things happen, but if you focus on the positive, you lose a friend, someone dies. The positive is the rest of a million of us are still here. And there's still my whole family, my whole friends. One person, they passed away. You could also see that they went on to be one with the universe. You can see death in a whole other perspective too. But that's how I see it.
Absolutely, Brandon. I'm a firm believer that once we do pass on, we will become one with the universe. And I think if you can genuinely believe in something that happens after we're here on Earth, and if you have a positive relationship to that, the fear and anxiety for when you're on Earth, wow. Even just a genuine belief in something like that, which may take some research and some studying, but wow, it can calm quite a bit down here in the thinking mind on Earth. But um, I love what Rodger and Brandon have said. This has been an amazing podcast so far, and I read a lot of different gurus and things on spiritual approaches and just perspectives on life. And one that I've really been trying to ingrain in me is how much we label things. And this ties into what Rodger and Brandon were saying. We have to put a label. That's the first time something new comes into our eyesight sense. It's like, how can I label it? How can I put an image or a word or categorize it into be something that's probably not true? It just is what it is in that moment. And if we could train ourselves to go about life and not label things, but just take it in for exactly what it looks like without commentary, I think that's huge. That can uncover that alone. If we just don't label everything subconsciously, because that's what we do, it's huge.
Read this for me.
What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. Buddha.
That was Buddha. Rodger found that for me.
Yeah,
Fire.
You want to talk about that, Rodger, or we want to go back to what you were saying?
I mean, that's a quote from Buddha, but that's the law of attraction. I really feel that if I'm living my life in a positive way, if I'm seeking out positive things, positive things are going to happen for me. The manifestation of good things. If I'm thinking about them, I'm doing the work to move towards those positive things. If I'm needing positive friends, if I have a good attitude and I'm positive, that's what I'm going to attract. But the flip side of that is if I'm negative and I'm out menacing and putting out hate and discontent, yeah, that's exactly what I'll have out there is friends that have the same mindset, and negative things will happen. And then, I'll be sitting in jail wondering what happened, And it's because I was putting off that kind of
Life's
energy.
not fair, is it?
And
That relates to what you were saying.
that's,
Okay.
and that's 100%, Roger. And I'm a firm believer that if you want to call it the universe, God, the great spirit, the great architect, the all, a lot of philosophers say it. I'm a firm believer that that thing, whatever that is, it gauges our intention. Like that, whatever created all of this, it knows our legit intentions. And karma in the world will act depending on intention. Not even just action is one thing, but I'm a firm believer that it knows our thoughts and it knows the vibes that we are putting out. And if those are bad thoughts and bad vibes, and everyone may think that we're doing a good thing, but what is actually at the core? I think that the universe knows that. And I think that you will be rewarded depending on what that is.
You know, there's a quote in a book I like to read, and it's I was judging myself by my intentions while the world was judging me by my actions. You know, and that's a lot of it. It's like, what am I doing as opposed to what I'm thinking? You know, am I doing the right thing, or is it I'm doing the right thing for my own benefit? You know,
Absolutely.
On that note, we got this one about thoughts and actions as well. Nick, you want to read that for me?
Yeah. Sorry, I just had a gummy in here. Your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny. Triple exclamation mark, Muhammad Gandhi right there. That's, I mean, fire. And I think it's an elongated version to almost of what we mentioned with the bear cycle and how that manifests and what that looks like. And I love how that he provides even a bit more detail in that. And the part that's really trippy is how do we program? Subconscious is basically just a belief that we've believed for so long that it becomes programmed into our subconscious. So then we don't have to consciously think about it. It's just in there. But imagine if we could unwire a lot of that and do it positively. And then it just builds on itself to the point where it's built on itself for so long that it's already on autopilot. Goodness is just being sent out there. So I don't know. I'm that's an amazing quote. And I think what you think and your actions and it all makes a difference. It really does.
The way I like to see it is like dominoes. So, the thoughts hit over and in this picture, I'm imagining the dominoes actually get bigger. So it's a very small domino, hits over another slightly bigger domino, hits over a slightly bigger domino because it's going to have more force as it goes. So, they get bigger and bigger, but the dominoes are, one at a time. It starts with the thoughts. So,
there's
starts with the beliefs in our.
There's a whole therapy, cognitive behavior therapy, is on the thoughts. Create your feelings create your actions, and then it reinforces itself. And the ability to be able to change your thoughts or change your feelings about a certain event or a certain situation will change your actions or reactions to a certain situation. And I've taken several classes on it, and rewiring your brain to having a different feeling about a thought, or having a different thought to create a different feeling about an incident or a situation in your life. That way, you get out of that cycle.
This is why talk therapy works and changes people's lives. All we're doing is sitting there talking to somebody, but they're helping us process something. They're helping us learn a new way of thinking. It's not it's not always a medication. It's not always, exercise or whatever. A lot of just getting through this stuff is just talking it out.
Yeah, my therapist, Jackie, she's awesome and helps me. She doesn't. A lot of people think like you go to a therapist, they're just going to fix things, or they're going to put you on medication. But really, they get you to talking about yourself and let you realize what's wrong with your thoughts and your behaviors and how you can, fix you. It's not like they don't tell you what to go do or how to go live or what you should change, or they make suggestions, or they just let you examine your thoughts on that.
They bring the truth out of yourself. They help you find your truth.
Yeah.
And check out that quote in front of you.
Oh, okay. Here, let me get over here.
That's your one you wrote. I'm looking at it. It has to do with what we're talking about.
Where are we at?
You already know
Jocko.
what the right thing to do is. You just have to do it, Jocko. And I'm going to add, I believe that we have the truth inside of us somewhere. We just have to find it. And Nick wants to.
Call on me for that because I was excited. You know how you sometimes you hear these cliche quotes and it's like, how can I grasp this? But people say like, the universe is inside you. You are the universe. This and that, and it's like, oh, come on, how does that make sense? I'm not God. I'm not magical. I can't create things with my mind or this and that. But the more spiritual I become and the more clear-headed I get, I am truly believing that the truth is in every single person. And it's a matter of if you can find that truth. And once you find that truth, whatever it may be, it sends an emotion through your body, which I call that being like a spiritual experience, is basically emotions that are sent through your body that are going to cause more of a permanent way to look at something. So it's actually rewiring the science in your brain through dopamine and serotonin and neurons that wire together, fire together, and that is how you can actually change your thoughts, because it sounds like it's so deep, but you can always go further back and rewire everything. And I may have gotten off track on that, but
Well, there's a lot to cover here. But yeah, rewiring the brain.
yeah.
I mean, because when you have a bad habit, it's just because you did that thing so many times. Like, the thoughts led to the habit, led to the action, led to the habit, led to the action, led to the habit. You did it so many times, and it really is neuroscience. You go in and you take contrary action, and you're going to get off those old behaviors.
Yeah, it's a rut in
Mhm.
essence in your brain
Mhm.
because of that hardwiring of doing something over and over in the repetitive action. That's why it takes 21 days to break a habit or make a habit. You've got to
That's what they say. I feel like it's
reprogram.
longer, but it could be 21.
Probably depends on the substance, the
Yeah.
potency.
Well, it
whatever.
just
Because
happens
I've fallen
period.
back. Well, we can say about this same rut situation, which is like I've gotten off things for a month or 3 months or 6 months and then gone back to it. As soon as you go back to it, you pick it up again, whether it's gambling or porn addiction or whatever the case may be. If you were off it for 3 months and you go back to it, you're going to be right back to where you started.
Well, if you've ever seen a rut in a dirt road,
Mhm.
it don't go away. It's still there. You just don't travel in that rut no more.
Mhm.
You start a new path and you develop, new ruts. But that rut's still there. That
Positive
tension.
ruts.
Yeah. It's the same thing with your brain. That pathway's still there. You're still able to get on that path. But the whole point of changing habits is you're starting a new path and getting out of that rut.
There was also a great a way to put an image to that was like a snow. Imagine your brain being a fresh a mountain that just had fresh snow on it, bunch of powder, right?
When we're babies.
And you're snowboarding down. Let's say using a drug is snowboarding down the same route and over and over and over, and all of a sudden that turns into a black diamond, and there's a really big groove. But what you can do, and like Rodger mentioned, you can actually fill that groove with fresh snow. So if a fresh storm comes down, you can fill that groove with new powder. And it's not going to be as easy to go down. And what that new powder is, that's from spirituality, research, figuring out how to not use your substance or drug of choice, becoming a better person. And you could essentially create new routes. But that doesn't mean that route is not under that fresh snow still. It's that old behavior, they will spring up.
Cavern.
You have to keep an eye on them.
Cavern there waiting for you to fall right in.
Like a crevasse on Everest or whatever they call it,
Whoops,
Same
I fell in
shit.
My crevasse again.
Yeah.
You say crevasse.
Let's
I would like to. There's 6 words I feel that is the solution for all this.
do it.
Clean house, trust God, help others.
That is a rewiring process to actually trust the higher power, whatever you think that to be. It could be positivity. It could be Jesus Christ. It could be the universe. Mine is the universe. Mine is principles like positivity and love. So if you have a higher power and you believe that, you have that faith that things are going to work out and you focus your energy on that positivity instead of everything's going to go horribly wrong, you know, and then cleaning house is all about doing, the dealing with these emotions, going to the therapy,
Dealing with
staying
your
away,
past.
dealing with the past, staying away from the bad stuff, staying away from the people who drag you back into it.
Making amendments to
Mhm.
people that you've hurt.
And then to me, when you're talking about like, oh, I always used to go, and whenever I had a bad feeling, I'd go to the bar, I'd go to I'd go to the liquor store. And now instead I call someone up and I try to be helpful to them, honestly. So that's gonna rewire your brain. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, helping others getting out of your head, um, it changes your brain. It changes those ruts that you're in. It gives you new energy, gives you new beliefs. Um,
I I feel good. I feel like a good person when I help other people.
I mean,
I feel like a good person when I put good things out in the universe. It builds what I call the spiritual momentum. It builds the positive momentum. I feel like this show is the positive momentum. It's like now I can put these messages out to more people.
that we're good.
Mhm.
Everything's a snowball effect, and they say like if you spread positivity, because all it takes is like, let's say, you explain this to me, Brandon, like how it can domino effect on everyone. Like, let's say I went to order a Chipotle burrito, and the lady at the cashier was super mean to me and was like, screw, oh, don't, whatever, just wasn't the most pleasant with me. And I left Chipotle, and I have a resentment towards that person because they weren't nice to me. And then I go to perform my next item on the day, which is meeting up with someone, and I'm carrying that with me. And then all of a sudden I'm passing my shitty attitude from Chipotle to the next person, and then that to the next. So how it travels, and you were the one who broke that down. We don't know where it's traveling to.
It could be infinite. It could affect the whole universe because what I do affects you. You affect the next person. They affect the next person. It affects the whole Earth.
It's kind of like that movie Butterfly Effect.
The
I need to
butterfly
watch that
effect.
again.
That's a good
The
movie.
butterfly effect is you change one little thing and the whole universe changes.
I want to watch that
I
again.
like to live on the premise. I got a friend named Carrie, and I asked her what one of her favorite quotes was, how she lives. And, do unto others as you want done unto you.
Mm.
And that's the golden rule. It transcends all religions, major religions. It wasn't just Christianity or it's the golden rule. It's
Mhm.
in every society, every um, area of life, and if people would live by that, not do unto others has been done unto you,
Mm.
but doing unto others is what you want done to you, and life would be so much easier if somebody could just keep that in perspective.
Yes, definitely. And the one I like is you never know what someone's going through. So someone could be on the edge and you're just making it worse. And then everybody's just 10 people in a row are just making it worse that day for that person. He's like, 10 people were just crappy to me today. And I'm going to go off myself.
And then positively, like at a group that we attend sometimes last week, sometimes the vibe's low, sometimes it's high, whatever it may be. And we picked someone new to share initially to kind of kickstart the group. And it goes for positivity too. This guy brought a different approach into a share, said something that no one's really heard in a while. And I think it resonated with so many people that everyone was so quick to want to respond to them. And all of a sudden, more hands are going up. So and quickly. And it's both ways. Absolutely. Positive and negativity and the energy and how it travels. And it's, it really makes a difference.
The butterfly effect, the ripple effect.
Mhm.
Did I have a question for Roger. He's good at this stuff. What do you say to in your quote? It was everybody knows the right thing to do. What do you think about someone who might not know the right thing to do, or they continue to do bad things? What do you?
Me and Nick were talking about this just before. I lived that life where I knew the right thing to do. I mean, I have a pretty extensive criminal history, and the good. I know what to do.
Mhm.
Everybody, me and Nick were talking about. You know what the right thing to do is,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and someone who just continues to do it. I don't know. I mean, a lot of that's just I've got into a program in which I try to do the next right thing.
The next right thing.
You know, I try to get out of self. When you're doing the wrong things, when you're doing bad things, when you're doing things against society, you're doing things against people, it's because you're selfish. You're not thinking of others. You have no consideration for other people's feelings. You have no consideration for other people's property. You have no consideration for anybody because you're just worried about you and what you can get out of this life.
And what I say about that is, what I like to say about that is that, shoot, let me think. I forgot what I was going to say. What were you saying again?
But today, I want to see what I can contribute to life.
Oh
I
yeah,
want to see what I can put into life.
I got it.
Mm.
Here we go. What I like to say is that I forgot again. Say it again.
Contribute, not take,
I got
not
it.
just
I
take,
got it.
but what
I
can we
got it.
give
I got it.
as
I got
well?
it. I got it.
Is this a real show?
It's a real. This is, believe it or not, this is a real show.
Solomon, is this a real show?
This is a real show.
As far as I know,
What I want to
I'm really here.
what I want to say is that when someone makes a decision based on self, or they go and hurt somebody, or they go and rob somebody, etc., they think that that's going to get them the best results. Somehow in their mind, they think that's going to get them the best results. They don't fully understand. It might be that short-term gratification, or that they think, I want this in that moment. They think that's going to be the best thing, is I'm going to grab this thing, I'm going to steal this thing, and then I'm going to have this thing. They don't consider the long-term consequences. But over the long term, it's going to be worse for you. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to go to jail. You're going to, if you're mean to somebody, you're going to get meanness back.
Okay, if you thought, okay, most states got the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Does it keep people from killing people?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because people are worried about them. People are selfish. They don't care. It's whatever they want. And if you are living in that mentality, it doesn't matter what's right or what's wrong. You're going to just do whatever you want when you want,
Right.
whether you get caught or not.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's bad programming. What does programming mean? It could be environment, music, society, culture, parents, whatever it may be. And some people are dealt really, really shitty cards, right? And you got to truck a lot further to get to, a period of being normal compared to, or what's normal, but in your idea of what's normal compared to, let's say, people who haven't had as bad of cards. And that's a very true thing. And there's one thing that I know, the only thing you can do is you still have to take responsibility no matter what. And no matter the cards we are dealt, no matter how shitty those cards are, if your dad died, your mom died, your brother died, you were, abused as a child, this and that. We may think we're the only ones in the world, and it feels like we're the only ones in the world at that time, but I promise you are not the only one. Everyone has gone through what you've gone through, and even more. That's how big of a world it is. And if you can accept it, no matter how gross or twisted or disgusting or uncalled for, the only way you can move forward is through acceptance. Absolutely. But I agree. People are not they are dealt shitty fucking hands. Excuse my language.
Oh my gosh.
I like to say something about that
Yeah.
though.
Yep.
Responsibility. I gave a quote by Jocko. Jocko's got this book called Extreme Ownership. And really the premise of that whole book is taking complete responsibility and ownership over every facet of your life. Even if you were dealt a crap hand, an example is somebody drops a load of manure in your front yard. Well, you didn't create that. You didn't do that, but it's still your responsibility to clean it up if you want to get rid of that smell. And yeah, you may have been dealt a crap life, but you know what? You can still make something of it if you're accountable and you take it as your responsibility to move forward in life and to get all you can out of life.
And with what you guys are talking about, some of the reason that people do bad things and make bad decisions, stay in their addictions, all that stuff, is that they think they're alone. They think they're alone, and that is the point is that there's someone who has been through what you've been through. Maybe not everyone has been through what you've been through, but we all are human. We've all been through something. We've all been through something, all humans. And but there's probably people who have been through even worse than you've been through, and you're just holding on to this how bad your situation is, but you're not in perspective of thinking there's a lot of people who have been through what I've been through that aren't reacting the same way that I am or are getting through it in a much more positive way. So
And I'm not absolutely, and I'm not saying like, oh, why don't you suck it up and go, be happy and joyful after having to grow up with all those shitty circumstances? No, not at all. But it comes down to it's just for yourself. Like how
responsibility, personal responsibility.
how quickly do you want to feel good? And the only way you can feel good deep, deep, deep down is by actually releasing whatever that hatred is or that resentment.
Release the hatred for yourself. I mean,
For yourself. Boom.
Release the fear for yourself.
Not for the other person, but for yourself.
Can we get a quote from you?
That's fire.
Can we get a quote?
Brandon, what was that again? Yeah, right? We got to write that down.
Don't hang on to your fear. Yes.
Oh, I want. Well,
Yes.
I'm going to add that to
Oh
this.
yeah. Yeah. Here we go.
Okay. Well, here, Brandon, that quote
Nick's got a quote for us.
That quote was really fire, Brandon. I'm gonna
Your thoughts become things, manifest
wisely. Mike Dooley, and I think it kind of ties into again what we've gone over. Everything starts with a thought, then the belief, then the action, then the results. But it has to come with the
Go ahead
thought.
and bring that down.
And this other one that I sorry guys. And this other one as well says the universe conspires with those who dare to manifest their, and his quote was desires. I crossed that out and put an X. I put purpose and becoming because desires to me, I'm trying to get rid of my desires.
Well, here's the deal. That was translated, so maybe they threw desires in.
Exactly.
That's not exactly probably what he meant.
Yeah, that's me. That's me looking at it.
Can I hear that one again?
This one says the universe conspires. The universe conspires with those who dare to manifest their purpose dreams. And he wrote desires, but I crossed it out and put purpose and
That's
dreams.
what I'm saying. He may not have wrote the translation.
Exactly. And well, desires, that if you desire to be a good person, cool, and be selfless, but if you desire to whatever, make $1 million, or that's cool too. That's like materialistic desire is different than like soul desire for me, I guess. But anyhow,
those who dare to manifest
their purpose.
Yes,
I like purpose.
As long as you're daring to manifest,
purpose.
The universe is going to help you. If you're doing the action, that's action.
Yeah.
Manifesting purpose is action.
Have you read The Alchemist?
I have not read it yet.
It.
Oh my gosh,
but I will.
It is. It's about 180 pages. It was well worth the read. A guy finding what true life is about. He thought he had goals, and he set a goal, and then he would get somewhere, and his path would change, and he still kept focused on that goal. And then when he finally got to that goal, it all circled back to where life, should have been started. It was right back to where he was at, and that's where he found true happiness. It was amazing that but the goal, him chasing after this dream or looking for it, is what made him who he was and the happiness that he found along the way.
The journey.
Not the journey.
The journey.
Yeah. And it was a really good book, man.
Fire. I'm gonna read that.
Well worth it.
Alchemist.
I had a friend named Kelly DeBach, and she gave me that book to read about 6 months ago. Freaking 2 days, I was done. Right.
Dude, I've been some of that deep shit. I liked that deep shit.
Let's hear some more. Let's hear some more book recommendations.
Book recommendations.
David Goggins.
What's it called?
You Can't Hurt Me.
David Goggins is the master of endurance, pushing through his physical barriers and.
Yeah, here's David Goggins' philosophy. He crappy circumstances. I read his autobiography, and very abusive childhood, and fat kid, and then he couldn't read, and now he's graduated from he was a Navy SEAL, and so many accomplishments. I think airborne ranger, and
Mhm.
now he
He was
runs
dope,
ultra
yeah.
marathons. But he says most people only tap into 40% of your potential, and there's still, when you get to that point where you're ready to quit, you've just got 40% of the way. You still got another 60%. And I find that amazing, just like his determination to just continue to push no matter what. He's got the pull-up record championship,
Mhm. Like
a world record,
he did I forget the number, but like
42:30 or something
holy
like that. It
shit,
was
in
amazing.
And
24 hours or
Yeah.
something. It's ridiculous.
and along the lines of the
Oh,
Alchemist, along the lines of the Alchemist and David Goggins, is that really successful people have often been through the worst stuff. And we got a quote here from David Goggins. You want to read that for me?
If you're willing to suffer, and I mean suffer, your brain and body, once connected together, can do anything. David Goggins.
Think he knows some shit that we don't
It's
know.
it's tapping into that deep pain that's gonna fuel you. It's gonna fuel you so much more than There's this. Is it the Prince of Abyssinia? Anyways, like a story where uh, a prince who never goes through anything, like he's never been through anything bad in his life. You can imagine a prince. He wants to go and experience the world because he's not strong. He doesn't know anything about the world. What we go through is how we learn and how we get fueled.
Mhm.
There's a quote from Alcoholics Anonymous. I think it's in seventh step of the 12 and 12, and it says, "Pain is the cost of admission for a new life.
No pain, no gain.
No
is
pain,
it?
no gain.
No pain, no gain. That's from the gym. People say that at the gym.
It's life.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna hurt a little bit. You want change, it's gonna hurt a little bit. Growing pains, it's a real deal. I mean, if it doesn't hurt, you're probably not doing it right.
Nick, do you want to tell us any book recommendations?
Oh, books? Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to get really, really deep, which you can read about a chapter a week, and then you got to let it sit because it's just The Kabbalion is a book that I've been reading. It's an old philosophical book called The Kabbalion, and that's Kybalion. The Untethered Soul is a great book. I read this book called
Here, tell us about Untethered Soul, because that's really what we're talking about here today too.
that basically we're the observer of our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. That essentially we have a spirit that's separate from the shell of our body. And if you pay enough attention to these subtle little differences in our mind, you can realize that. But essentially, the untethered soul is teaching us not to buy into our negative thinking and our false thinking.
And I call it conscious reprogramming, when we go inside the mind and we start to take a thought and change it into a positive thought or change it into a balanced thought. I call it conscious reprogramming. I'm going to have Nick back on in a couple weeks to talk about conscious reprogramming. Hopefully with my friend Frank, we can talk all about Untethered Soul, because that is life-changing stuff.
Absolutely. But and I found books. I'm 30 now, and I grew up not being a reader. I liked video games and I liked movies, and I always viewed myself as not being a reader, which is a false image. And then I ran with that image and I never read books. So over this past couple of years, I've been introduced to the world of books, man. And that's how you.
It's a whole.
That's where everything is, man. That's where you. That's where this shit changes. Is through books, man. Movies, great, but books.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to spend some time in prison, and that's where I read, I mean, everything I could get my hands on. And it really took me places I never thought I could go, being locked up and learning of so much of the world, and just different philosophies and different thoughts, and just seeing different countries in my imagination. And it was a blessing. It still is a blessing. Now I still read. Instead of watch TV, I read. It's just because I don't know. I enjoy it. I can see the pictures how I want to see the pictures in my head.
Amen to that.
Yeah. There's a website, a guy on YouTube I like to watch, actualize.org. His name is Leo, but he has a video about gold mines and how everything is a gold mine. A book opens up a whole new dimension of what your life can be. That you never would have gotten if you never picked up the book that's on the shelf and read it. I feel the same way about people. I would have never learn what I learned. If I didn't know Nick, I would have never be who I am if I didn't know Rodger. You guys open up my mind in new ways that we don't even realize. A book, a person, a movie, whatever.
You know, I used to look at people, and when I was using drugs, and I would look at people and I'd size them up and see what I could get from them. You know, like what can if they had money, they had drugs, they had a ride, they had something I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Now I look at people like you, and I look at Nick, and as I talk to you, there's something from you I want,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a life lesson or a friendship. I still want to get something from you.
Yep.
But today it's something that's going to make me grow, not something that's going to destroy you or destroy me.
That's that positive path not everybody's seeing when they're hurting other people. They're not seeing that they could get so much more by being nice. We got to wrap up right here now. Thank you guys so much. We really covered everything and more that I wanted to cover. Just really appreciate you guys being here. I told you how I feel about you just now, about how I wouldn't be who I am without you. And we talked about the belief cycle, the bear. Next week, we're going to talk about charity with one of the co-founders of our sponsor, Gift Apply. So we are sponsored by Gift Apply. Go check out giftapply.com. Get that 25% coupon off with the BK Show code. And beyond that, I told you who's on next week. I thank my guest. Thank you for watching, everybody.